The day Earth changed forever started like any other at the Global Space Command Center. The radar operators watched their screens with their usual focus, tracking satellites and space debris. Then something new appeared, an object moving in a way that defied known physics. Within hours, screens worldwide lit up with the same strange readings. The object was massive, nearly the size of a small moon, and it was slowing down as it approached Earth. Military forces around the world went on high alert, but they all knew their weapons would be useless against something of that size. The alien ship stopped just beyond the moon's orbit. For 3 days, it sat there silently while Earth's governments argued about what to do. Then it sent its first message, a simple greeting in every major Earth language. James Walker stood at attention in his crisp blue UN Defense Force uniform as the alien delegates stepped out of their shuttle at the emergency landing zone in Geneva. The aliens looked almost beautiful in a strange way, with their tall, slender bodies covered in shimmering scales. They called themselves the representatives of the Stellar Council. "We welcome you to join the galactic community," the lead alien said through a translator device. Its voice was smooth and pleasant, but there was something in its tone that made Walker's skin crawl. He had been a soldier long enough to recognize when someone was looking down on others. The aliens shared amazing technologies with Earth's leaders, faster than light travel, energy shields, and medical advances that could cure most diseases. But Walker noticed how they always held something back, treating humans like children who needed guidance. During the first official meeting, Walker watched from his post as the aliens explained how the galaxy worked. They spoke about the Stellar Council, a group of advanced species that govern most of known space. Earth would be welcome to join, they said, but only after a period of cultural and technological adjustment. "Your species shows promise," one of the aliens said, patting a human scientist on the head like a pet. "With proper guidance, you might even be useful workers in a few hundred years." Walker's hands tightened into fists behind his back, but he kept his face neutral. He saw the same controlled anger in the eyes of other humans in the room. They were being offered a place in the stars, but as servants, not equals. The aliens set up an embassy in Geneva and began their assessment of Earth. They watched how humans lived, worked, and fought. Walker was assigned as the head of security for the human diplomatic team, which gave him a front-row seat to all interactions. One day, he overheard 2 aliens talking when they thought no humans were nearby. "Such primitive creatures," one said. "Did you see how they still use combustion engines, like children playing with fire?" "They're dangerous children," the other replied. "Have you seen their war records? They fight over the smallest things. Better to guide them carefully before they hurt themselves or others." Walker quietly logged everything he saw and heard. He noticed how the aliens always tried to split humans into competing groups, offering better deals to some nations than others. But for the first time in history, Earth's nations began secretly working together, sharing information about their alien visitors. The aliens didn't realize that every patronizing word, every condescending gesture, was being remembered. They didn't understand that humans were already figuring out how their advanced technology worked, or that Earth's scientists were making breakthroughs the aliens thought impossible for primitive minds. As Walker watched another sunset from the command center's window, he thought about humanity's future. The aliens had opened the door to the stars, expecting to find servants. Instead, they had awakened something they didn't understand: humanity's drive to prove everyone wrong. "Let them think we're primitive," Walker muttered to himself, watching the alien embassy's lights glow in the distance. "They'll learn." The first seeds of humanity's rise to power were already taking root, fed by the very beings who thought they would keep Earth under their control forever. The testing chamber in the alien facility was cold and sterile. Dr. Anna Miller watched from behind thick glass as another human volunteer completed what the aliens called a basic skills assessment. The alien observers whispered among themselves, their scaled faces showing what she had learned to recognize as surprise. The volunteer, a former construction worker named Mike, had just solved a puzzle in 15 minutes that the aliens claimed took most species 3 days to figure out. It was the 12th such unexpected result this week alone. Fascinating, the lead alien researcher said, making notes on his floating screen. Perhaps there was an error in the test design. They always said that when humans performed better than expected. Miller kept her face neutral, but inside she was smiling. The aliens had designed their tests to confirm their beliefs about human limitations. Instead, they were getting a glimpse of what humans could really do. In another chamber, soldiers were being tested for endurance. The aliens had created obstacle courses designed to push the limits of what they thought humans could handle. They didn't know that humans had been running similar courses on Earth for centuries, often in worse conditions. Their pain tolerance exceeds all projected limits, one alien said to another, and they continue even when clearly exhausted. Most species would have stopped by now. Miller watched as the soldiers pushed through another round, their determination growing with each attempt. The aliens had accidentally created a competition, not understanding that humans would treat every test as a challenge to overcome. The most surprising results came from the technology adaptation tests. The aliens would introduce a new piece of equipment, expecting humans to take weeks to grasp basic operations. Instead, they were mastering complex systems in days. It must be a fluke, the aliens would say. They cannot possibly understand the underlying principles. But Miller knew better. Every night, she received reports from human scientists who were already reverse engineering alien technology from just these brief exposures. The testing continued for weeks. Humans were assessed on everything from problem solving to physical capabilities. The aliens were particularly interested in human reactions to stress, not realizing that their tests were actually helping humans learn more about themselves and their potential. During one particularly demanding test, a volunteer named Jack pushed himself so hard that the aliens tried to stop the test. "You will cause yourself harm," they warned. Jack just grinned and finished anyway, breaking the previous record. "Your species shows concerning patterns," an alien supervisor told Miller later that day. "You push beyond safe limits. You ignore warnings. You challenge established parameters." Miller nodded politely, but she was thinking about how these concerning patterns were exactly what had helped humanity survive and thrive on Earth. The aliens saw danger in human unpredictability. They didn't understand it was one of humanity's greatest strengths. In their private meetings, the Stellar Council representatives debated what to do about their findings. They didn't know that human intelligence services had already found ways to listen in. Every conversation revealed more about their fears and plans. "We must restrict their access to advanced technology," one council member argued. "They learn too quickly. Their adaptation rate exceeds safety protocols. Their combat potential is especially worrying," another added. "They show concerning levels of aggression combined with unexpected problem-solving abilities." The aliens thought they were being careful, but their every test revealed more of their own limitations. They couldn't understand why humans worked harder when told something was impossible, or why they shared knowledge so freely among themselves. Miller typed up her daily report, encrypting it before sending it to Earth's Unify command. "They still don't understand," she wrote. "They're so focused on measuring us against their standards that they can't see we're already exceeding them." The aliens had wanted to assess humanity's potential. Instead, they were showing humans exactly what they needed to learn to compete in the galaxy. And humans were learning very, very quickly. Major Tom Reynolds couldn't believe what he was seeing on his screen. The encrypted data stream showed countless alien transmissions, all focused on one goal: the systematic manipulation of Earth's governments. He had suspected something was wrong for months, but this was worse than anyone had imagined. The aliens weren't just studying humanity. They were actively working to weaken it. Their diplomatic assistance in resolving global conflicts was actually designed to create new tensions. Their economic aid was carefully calculated to make Earth dependent on alien resources. Reynolds downloaded everything to a secure drive, and rushed to the emergency meeting of Earth's secret Joint Command. Representatives from every major nation were already there, their faces grim as they reviewed similar findings from their own intelligence services. "They've been playing us from the start," Reynolds explained, showing intercepted alien communications. "Those helpful alien advisors they placed in our governments. They're manipulating our leaders, pushing policies that will turn Earth into nothing more than a resource colony." The evidence was overwhelming. The aliens had been secretly supporting corrupt officials, undermining democratic processes, and slowly positioning their allies in key positions of power. They had even started encouraging conflicts between nations while publicly preaching peace. In Africa, alien development aid was actually designed to create dependence on alien technology. In South America, their mining operations were stealing resources while giving almost nothing in return. Across Asia and Europe, their economic advisors were pushing policies that would cripple human industries. "Look at these resource reports," one analyst pointed out. "They're not helping us develop our technology. They're stealing our raw materials and making us thank them for it." The most damning evidence came from a leaked alien report about human military capabilities. The aliens weren't concerned about protecting Earth. They were worried about containing it. They had identified humanity's potential for rapid advancement as a threat to their control of the galaxy. Reynolds watched as the world's leaders, for the first time in history, put aside their differences in the face of this common threat. The aliens had wanted to divide humanity. Instead, they had given it a reason to truly unite. Plans were made in secret. While smiling diplomats continued to meet with alien representatives, Earth's military forces began quiet preparations. Scientists who pretended to struggle with alien technology were actually improving upon it. Every patronizing alien lecture was recorded and studied for weaknesses. "They think we're too primitive to notice what they're doing," Reynolds said to his team as they monitored alien communications. "That's their biggest mistake." The betrayal became clearer with each passing day. The aliens had set up defense systems around Earth, claiming they were for protection. The truth was, they were designed to keep humanity trapped in its own solar system. Some alien trading ships were actually mapping Earth's defenses. Their medical research projects were collecting data on human weaknesses. Even their cultural exchange programs were meant to identify potential resistance leaders for removal. But humanity had learned from its own history. Leaders remembered how colonial powers had once divided and conquered human nations. They recognized the same tactics being used against Earth as a whole. In public, humans play their assigned roles. Grateful, humble students of their alien benefactors. In secret, they prepared. Military bases hidden deep underground were converted into research centers. Ships were built in abandoned mines and desert facilities. Every alien lesson was turned into an opportunity to learn their vulnerabilities. Reynolds stood at his monitoring station, watching alien ships move in their predictable patterns above Earth. They thought their technology made them invincible. They didn't understand that humanity had faced overwhelming odds before and had learned to overcome them. "Keep watching," he told his team. "Keep learning. Keep preparing." The aliens thought they were slowly tightening their control over Earth. They didn't realize they were teaching humanity exactly what it needed to know to break free. The colony on Mars was humanity's first step into space, built with sweat and determination despite the aliens' constant advice to wait. Commander Lisa Stone stood at its defense center, watching as alien ships appeared on her radar. They weren't supposed to be there. They weren't supposed to attack. "All civilians to the underground bunkers," she ordered through the colony's communication system. Her voice remained calm even as more enemy ships appeared. The aliens thought this would be an easy show of force, a quick strike to remind humans of their place. They were wrong. The first alien ships launched what they thought would be devastating missiles at the colony's main dome. Instead of the expected destruction, their weapons exploded harmlessly against shields that shouldn't have existed. Human engineers had been busy. "Return fire," Stone commanded. Hidden defense turrets emerged from the Martian soil. The aliens had never imagined that humans could have modified their primitive mining lasers into weapons. The first alien ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Confusion spread through the alien fleet. Their scanners showed technology that humans shouldn't have had. Their tactical computers couldn't predict the seemingly random pattern of human counterattacks. Everything they thought they knew about human capabilities was wrong. Stone's fighters launched from concealed hangars. The aliens had taught humans about space combat, expecting them to follow standard galactic tactics. Instead, human pilots flew like their ancestors had in Earth's dogfights, wild, unpredictable, and devastatingly effective. "They're breaking formation," her tactical officer reported with barely contained excitement. The alien ships were starting to retreat. They had expected to find helpless colonists. Instead, they had found warriors who had spent generations preparing for war. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the Martian sky was filled with the debris of alien ships. The few surviving attackers fled, carrying with them the news that would shock the galaxy. Humans had not only fought back, but had won. In the aftermath, Stone walked through the colony's halls, checking on her people. The aliens had thought that attacking Mars would break humanity's spirit. Instead, it had ignited something they couldn't understand: human defiance. News of the battle spread across Earth and its colonies. The aliens tried to downplay it, calling it a misunderstanding. But everyone had seen the truth. Humanity could fight back. Humanity could win. "Send the signal," Stone ordered once the debris had been cleared. Across the solar system, hidden human facilities began powering up. Years of secret preparation were about to pay off. The aliens had taught humanity about advanced technology, thinking they were sharing only basic knowledge. They didn't realize that human scientists had taken those basics and evolved them in ways the aliens had never imagined. Stone's fighters hadn't just used alien technology. They had improved it. Human shields were stronger because they had learned from centuries of warfare on Earth. Human weapons were more effective because they combined alien power with human ingenuity. "The colony is secure," Stone reported to Earth's unified command. "And we've learned more from this battle than they could have ever taught us." The aliens' own arrogance had given humanity exactly what it needed: combat experience against superior forces. The message that went out across human space wasn't just about victory. It was about possibility. Humans weren't just capable of defending themselves. They were capable of winning. In their high towers and mighty ships, the alien leaders began to realize their mistake. They had tried to keep humanity down by force, not understanding that humans had spent their entire history overcoming stronger opponents. Stone watched the Earth rise over the Martian horizon, thinking about what this victory meant. The aliens had wanted to teach humanity a lesson about obedience. Instead, they had taught the galaxy a lesson about human strength. The spark had been lit. The next move would be humanity's. Dr. Robert Wilson stood in the massive underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by the future of human technology. What had started as reverse-engineered alien devices had evolved into something entirely new. Something the aliens had never seen before. The first hybrid warship floated in the enormous construction bay. It looked nothing like the elegant alien vessels or traditional human designs. This ship combined both, creating something that made use of humanity's greatest strength: the ability to think differently. "The power core is stable," one of his engineers reported. They had taken the aliens' clean but inefficient energy systems and rebuilt them using principles from Earth's old nuclear submarines. The result was something that produced 3 times the power in half the space. Wilson walked around the ship, checking the modifications his team had made. Where alien ships used purely energy-based weapons, this one carried physical projectiles enhanced by alien technology. The aliens had forgotten the simple effectiveness of kinetic weapons in their rush to develop more advanced arms. In other secret facilities around Earth and throughout the solar system, similar work was happening. Decades of watching and learning from the aliens were paying off. Every piece of technology they had shared had been taken apart, studied, and improved upon. They never understood why we asked so many questions, Wilson said to his team as they prepared for the ship's first test flight. The aliens had thought humans were just slow learners, not realizing that each question revealed more about how their technology worked. The ship's hull was covered in plates that looked like standard alien armor, but contained a surprise. Human metallurgists had learned to combine alien materials with Earth metals in ways that created something stronger than either alone. Something the aliens had never thought to try. Reports came in from other facilities. The new fleet was almost ready. Ships that had been built in secret, piece by piece, were being assembled in hidden bases across the solar system. Each one carried technologies that would shock their former teachers. Launch sequence starting, the control room announced. The massive doors above the facility opened, revealing the night sky. As the ship rose on its own power, Wilson thought about how the aliens had never noticed the scale of human preparation. They had been so focused on keeping humanity contained that they hadn't seen the signs. The unusual power consumption, the missing resources, the countless small innovations that humans had supposedly stumbled upon by accident. The ship cleared the atmosphere, its systems performing better than even their calculations had predicted. Human pilots, trained in simulators built from stolen alien data, were already learning to push these new vessels beyond their designed limits. Send the data to the other facilities, Wilson ordered. Soon, hundreds of these ships would be ready. The aliens thought they had humanity trapped in the solar system. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In orbit, the first human battle fleet was gathering. Each ship was different, modified and improved by the teams that built it. Unlike the standardized alien fleets, human ships were unique, unpredictable, and deadlier for it. Wilson watched the tactical display as more ships joined the gathering force. The aliens had given humanity a chance to study their tactics, their technology, and their weaknesses. Now humans would show them what they had learned. The fleet grew larger with each passing hour. Ships that had been hidden in asteroid bases, underwater facilities, and underground bunkers were finally revealed. Each one represented years of secret work, of humans pushing themselves to overcome alien superiority. "The fleet is ready," came the report from the command ship. Wilson sent his final approval. The time for hiding was over. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what it could really do. As he watched the ships move into formation, Wilson thought about how the aliens had always seen humans as primitive copies of themselves. They were about to learn that humanity had never been trying to copy them. Humans had been learning how to beat them. Admiral Mark Anderson stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Defiant, watching as another alien fleet retreated from human space. It wasn't just a retreat, it was a rout. The once mighty ships of the Stellar Council were running from human vessels half their size. 6 months had passed since humanity revealed its true strength. 6 months of continuous victories that had shocked the galaxy. The aliens had never seen anything like human ships or human tactics. They couldn't understand how their former primitives had become so powerful. Another request for protection. Admiral, his communications officer reported. This time it was from a mining colony that had once been under Council control. More and more alien worlds were reaching out to Earth for help, seeing humans as their best hope for independence. Anderson remembered how the aliens used to look down on human ships, calling them crude and primitive. Now those same aliens were studying human designs, trying to understand how vessels that looked so simple could be so effective. The secret was in how humans had combined technologies. While alien ships specialized in one type of combat, human vessels could adapt to any situation. They carried both energy weapons and kinetic guns, both alien shields and human armor. They were unpredictable, just like their crews. "Set course for the Centauri border," Anderson ordered. Another alien world had requested Earth's help in breaking free from Council control. Just months ago, these same aliens wouldn't even talk to humans as equals. Now they saw Earth as their salvation. The sight of human ships entering a system had once caused panic. Now it brought hope to oppressed worlds. Anderson's fleet had liberated 12 colonies in the past month alone, each victory making the Council's grip on power weaker. On his tactical display, Anderson could see how the galaxy was changing. The neat, organized borders of Council space were breaking apart. Independent worlds were declaring their freedom, protected by human ships that the Council couldn't defeat. Their whole system is falling apart, his tactical officer noted. They never thought about what would happen if someone challenged their power. The Council had ruled through fear and technology for so long that they didn't know how to handle a real fight. Human ships moved differently than alien vessels. Where Council ships followed strict formation patterns, human vessels seemed to flow like water, adapting to each situation. They fought like Earth's ancient warriors, using speed and surprise instead of brute force. The Council had tried to adapt, to copy human tactics, but they couldn't copy what they didn't understand. They didn't understand why human ships worked in pairs instead of squadrons, or why human captains were allowed to make their own decisions in battle. Another Council fleet detected, sensors reported. But unlike before, these ships didn't move to attack. They changed course, giving human space a wide berth. The Council had learned the hard way that challenging human ships usually ended in defeat. Anderson watched as more independent worlds joined Earth's growing alliance. They weren't forced to join. Humans remembered too well what it felt like to be controlled by others. Instead, they came willingly, seeking the protection and freedom that Earth now represented. The Council's response to each defeat showed why they were losing power. They tried to use the same tactics that had always worked before, not understanding that everything had changed. They couldn't accept that their former servants had become stronger than them. "Send word to Earth," Anderson ordered. "The Centauri sector is secure." Another region of space was free from Council control, another step toward a new galaxy where no species would dominate the others. In his private moments, Anderson thought about how quickly things had changed. The aliens had thought they were being clever, keeping humanity contained and controlled. Instead, they had given humans time to prepare, to learn, and to build something better than what had come before. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading that change. The Council had wanted to keep humans as servants. Instead, they had created the force that would end their rule forever. In the observation room of Earth's premier military academy, alien diplomats watched in silence as human special forces demonstrated their capabilities. What they saw made them deeply uncomfortable. These weren't the primitive warriors they had once dismissed. These were soldiers unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The training ground below was filled with obstacles that would challenge any species, but the humans moved through them with impossible speed and coordination. Where other species specialized in specific types of combat, humans had mastered them all. "They fight like water," one alien observer whispered, "changing, adapting, finding every weakness." The demonstration showed humans fighting in every environment: space, underwater, zero gravity, high gravity. They excelled in all of them. General Bill Reed smiled as he watched the aliens' reactions. They still didn't understand that this wasn't just about physical training. Humans had taken every piece of combat knowledge in the galaxy and rebuilt it into something new. The soldiers below wore combat suits that looked simple compared to alien battle armor. But these suits were the product of human ingenuity combined with alien technology. They could adapt to any environment, repair themselves, and enhance their wearers' natural abilities. "Now for the real demonstration," Reed announced. The training ground transformed, becoming a perfect copy of an alien city. The soldiers below disappeared, seeming to melt into the environment. Even the aliens' advanced sensors couldn't track them. This was what truly terrified other species: humanity's ability to become invisible not through technology, but through skill and training. Human soldiers could hide in plain sight, move without being detected, strike without warning. In another part of the facility, human commanders were teaching their new tactics to allied species. The aliens had always fought wars according to strict rules and patterns. Humans had shown them a better way. Be unpredictable, be creative, Never do what the enemy expects. Your technology is impressive, one alien diplomat admitted. But it's how you use it that makes you different. Humans hadn't just improved alien weapons, they had changed how they were used. A simple laser became deadly when fired from an unexpected angle. Basic shields became impenetrable when used in new ways. Reed led his guests to the strategy room, where human commanders were running battle simulations. The aliens watched in amazement as human forces consistently defeated larger, better-equipped enemies through superior tactics and unexpected maneuvers. "We don't just train our soldiers to fight," Reed explained. "We train them to think." Every human warrior was taught to make their own decisions, to adapt to changing situations, to find solutions that no one else would consider. The results spoke for themselves. Across the galaxy, military academies were studying human combat techniques. Species that had once looked down on Earth now sent their best warriors to learn from human instructors. But it wasn't just about fighting. Humans had developed new ways of defending, of protecting, of keeping peace. Their ships patrolled trade routes, keeping them safe from pirates. Their soldiers protected civilian populations during natural disasters. "This is why they fear us," Reed said quietly to his staff. "Not because we're stronger, but because we're different." Humanity had taken everything the galaxy thought it knew about warfare and proved it wrong. In the training ground below, the demonstration reached its end. The soldiers reappeared as suddenly as they had vanished, their mission completed without a single shot fired. This was human warfare at its finest, achieving victory without unnecessary destruction. The alien observers left with troubled expressions. They had come expecting to see brute force and primitive tactics. Instead, they had seen the future of galactic warfare, and it wore a human face. Reed watched them go, knowing what reports they would send to their homeworlds. Humanity wasn't just powerful, it was changing how power itself worked in the galaxy. The old ways of fighting, of thinking, of existing in space were over. A new age had begun, shaped by human innovation and determination. The galaxy would never be the same, and deep down, everyone knew it was for the better. The massive alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system without warning. Thousands of ships from multiple species, all united in one desperate attempt to stop humanity's growing power. They thought their numbers would guarantee victory. They were wrong. Earth's defense systems activated before the alien ships could even begin their approach. Sensor networks that humans had spent years building came alive, tracking every vessel. The aliens thought they were launching a surprise attack. In reality, Earth had known they were coming for weeks. "Let them get closer," Admiral John Peters ordered from Earth's Central Command. The alien fleet moved forward cautiously, expecting immediate resistance. Instead, human forces seemed to be retreating, pulling back toward Earth. The aliens saw this as a sign of weakness. Their commanders ordered a faster advance, eager to press their advantage. They didn't realize they were following a plan written by human strategists long ago. When the alien fleet reached Mars orbit, they found it seemingly undefended. The colonies that had once repelled their attacks appeared abandoned. Their sensors showed no signs of the human fleet that had dominated space for the past year. Still no resistance, the alien commanders reported, their confidence growing. The humans are hiding. They thought they had caught Earth unprepared. They were about to learn just how prepared humans could be. The trap was sprung when the alien fleet crossed the line that human commanders had drawn in space. Suddenly, the empty space around them came alive. Hundreds of small asteroids revealed themselves to be disguised human warships. The abandoned colonies launched waves of fighters. "Now," Peters commanded. The human fleet emerged from its hiding places, not fleeing as the aliens had thought, but moving to surround them. The aliens found themselves caught in a three-dimensional web of human vessels. What followed wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration of everything humanity had learned about space warfare. Human ships moved in patterns that alien tactical computers couldn't predict. Their weapons fired from angles that alien shields weren't designed to block. The aliens tried to retreat, to regroup using their standard tactics. But humans had studied those tactics for years. Every move the aliens made was countered before they could complete it. Every strategy they attempted had already been analyzed and defeated in human simulations. Their formation is breaking, Peter's tactical officer reported. The once mighty alien fleet was coming apart. Ships from different species began to flee in different directions, their unity shattered by human precision and planning. Earth's defensive grid activated, revealing layers of weaponry that the aliens hadn't known existed. Space itself seemed to turn against the invaders as human technology controlled the battlefield in ways they had never imagined possible. The battle lasted less than 6 hours. When it was over, the largest alien fleet ever assembled had been completely defeated. The few ships that escaped would carry tales that would become legend across the galaxy. Stories of how humanity had turned space itself into a weapon. Send recovery teams to assist any damaged alien vessels, Peters ordered. Even in victory, humans showed a side of themselves that the aliens couldn't understand. They helped their defeated enemies, provided medical aid to their wounded. This mix of unstoppable force and unexpected mercy confused the aliens even more than the defeat itself. In the aftermath, Peters walked through the command center, watching as his staff coordinated the cleanup operation. The aliens had thought their massive fleet would remind humanity of its place in the galaxy. Instead, they had helped humanity prove that its place was at the very top. Across the galaxy, the news spread quickly. The species that had once looked down on humans as primitives now spoke of them in whispered tones, not just because of their victory, but because of how they had achieved it. Through patience, planning, and precision that no one had thought humans capable of. The battle became known as the Great Reckoning, the day when the old powers of the galaxy finally understood what humanity had become. They had tried to put humans in their place. Instead, humans had shown them their own. 10 years after the Great Reckoning, the galaxy was a very different place. The old Stellar Council chamber, once the seat of alien power, now served as the meeting place for the Alliance of Free Worlds. And at its head stood a human, Ambassador David Marshall, the first of his kind to hold such power. Marshall looked out over the assembled representatives of 50 different species. Some had once been council members, others had been their servants. Now they all sat as equals, protected by the strength and principles that humanity had brought to the stars. The trade route between the Orion Arm and the Carina sector is now secure, he announced. Human patrol ships had cleared out the last remnants of pirate forces that had once terrorized those lanes. Where the Council had demanded payment for protection, humans provided it freely. The galaxy had learned that human power worked differently. They didn't demand obedience or tribute. Instead, they built partnerships, helped developing worlds, and shared their innovations with those who wished to learn. In the shipyards around Earth, vessels from dozens of species were being upgraded with human technology. The same weapons that had once terrified the galaxy were now used to protect it. Alien crews trained alongside human officers, learning not just how to fight, but when not to. Another colonization fleet is ready for launch, an aide reported. Humans had not just mastered space travel, they had made it safer and more reliable. Worlds that had once been too dangerous to settle were now home to thriving colonies, protected by human defense systems. The former council races had struggled to adapt at first. They had expected humans to treat them as they had once treated humanity, with contempt and dominance. Instead, they found themselves invited to join in building something new. Marshall walked through the station's corridors, passing members of various species working together. The sight would have been impossible just a decade ago. But humans had brought more than just military power to the galaxy. They had brought their ability to unite different peoples toward common goals. The medical research team has another breakthrough, a scientist reported. Human adaptability and innovation hadn't stopped with warfare. They had taken their drive to improve and applied it to every field, from medicine to agriculture, helping worlds that the Council had left to struggle. In space, the distinctive shapes of human ships patrolled alongside vessels from allied worlds. They no longer needed to hide their power. Everyone knew what humans were capable of. But they used that power to protect, to build, to explore. The Terraform project on New Hope is ahead of schedule. Another report came in. Worlds that the Council had declared uninhabitable were being transformed by human determination and ingenuity. Where others saw impossible challenges, humans saw opportunities. The few remaining Council loyalists had predicted that humans would become cruel rulers, drunk on their own power. Instead, humanity had remembered its own history, how it felt to be looked down upon, to be controlled, to be denied the chance to grow. The Academy's new class includes students from 15 different species, Marshall noted with satisfaction. The same facilities that had trained human soldiers now taught others how to defend their worlds, how to maintain peace, how to build rather than destroy. Looking out at the stars through the station's windows, Marshall thought about how far humanity had come. From a single world, deemed primitive and weak, they had risen to become the galaxy's greatest power. But they had done it their way, not through fear, but through innovation and cooperation. The galaxy had expected humans to be conquerors. Instead, they had become protectors. The species that had once feared humanity now looked to Earth for leadership, not because they were forced to, but because humans had proven themselves worthy of trust. This was humanity's true victory, not that they had become the most feared force in the galaxy, but that they had turned that fear into respect, that respect into trust, and that trust into a new future for all species.